this video I'm going to show you step by step how to make a very pockety journal. Hello, I am Tinne from VectoriaDesigns, and if you like the glamour of a century ago, you're going to like our Roaring 20s kit very much. You can expect feathers, sequins, jazz and more. And I made a tutorial with these printables to create a journal with lots of pockets. And I'll also show you what you can possibly put in those pockets. I even have some free Art Deco style photo mats for you. If you opt in via the link in the description, they're yours along with all the measurements you might need. These measurements will also pop up on the screen, but sometimes it's handier to just have everything nicely in a row. Of course, you can use the printables of this Roaring 20s kit to create a lot of other crafts. This is just one way of using them. And if you don't like this theme at all, no worries, you can use other printables and papers to create this beautiful journal as well. But if you would like to make this or any other project with the printables of our Roaring 20s kit, you can check it out in my Etsy shop. The link is below for more information. And now let's start crafting. Enjoy! Okay, let me show you what we are going to make. So this is a journal with a lot of pockets, as the name already told you, of course. And it already starts with the cover. So I'm opening it up. And the front cover has not one, but two spots, two separate pockets. It's not like a tunnel or anything for these cards with photo mats. These photo mats are freebies. If you opt in via the link in the description, as I said before, or you can just put photos in there or other cards or whatever you want. And the same is happening on the back. So just like this. And then let me open it up. Here in the front, another photo mat, but a smaller one. In this corner pocket, we also have a card with a picture. And then when I open it up, this is magnetized. There's a double card in here. And here we have two cute little pictures that fit into these cute pockets. Everything's cute. Yes, I am in a cute mood today. And here we have a journal. So it's just a single signature. And I'm already going to tell you, it is all quite cozy. So if you want more pages than I'm having here, print on lighter paper or make these spines an 1/8 of an inch larger than I did. And then here is another photo mat. And here is just a card with a little ribbon pull as well. Beautiful illustrations. And that's it. I think that's already quite a lot. And now let me show you how to make this from scratch. As you can see, I have here a bunch of pieces cut from cardstock. This time I'm not using my 300 grams cardstock like I usually do. This is 230 grams cardstock. I haven't tried it with 300 grams, so if you do, I cannot guarantee that everything folds as good as it should. So use something that is in the vicinity of 230 grams. Now, there are a lot of pieces, but we're not going to attach them all at the same time. These are little pockets. Let me put them aside. And the ones under here are for later as well. But yeah, very important. All the measurements for the cardstock pieces for the base, etc., are based upon the fact that my journal pages are 10¼ inch wide, unfold, and 8 inches high. I printed these on A4 paper because that's what we use down here. And I chose a setting fit to page. With a border, I didn't print borderless. Now, there's already a difference if I print that way with the JPEG files or with my PDF files. Even though they are exactly the same size, it's just these print options on your computer that decide all that. I know, it's a pain. If you can get your journal pages to print at 8 inches high, perfect. If you can't, you can adjust the measurements according to the guidelines that will pop up on the screen. But the easiest thing is that you can get your journal pages to print the same size as mine. Okay, let's start. I'm gonna start with these two base pieces. The measurements will come up on the screen. And let's start with scoring these two. So the first one, I'm going to score at 3 7/8. And then 3/8 of an inch further, because that's gonna be the spine, at 4 1/4. That's it. And the next one I am going to score at 1/2 inch. And you know, when I score at 1/2 inch, usually it is indeed a tab. And then 3/8 inch further, so 7/8 inch for the spine again. That's it for these two base pieces. Let me fold them and attach them to each other. Yes, this is lighter cardstock, so I don't really need my bone folder here. Might use it. And since this is a tab, I am going to cut off these corners. Take care, don't cut into your spine bit, just the end. Just cut off a little bit of the corner so that that doesn't bulk up when you attach them to each other. And then I'm going to put some double-sided tape. You can use glue. I'm gonna put tape on that tab right next to that fold, not on the fold because it might get sticky. Like this. Make sure it sticks. Then remove the backing. And then your second piece has a wide piece and a smaller piece on each side of that spine. I'm going to attach the wide side to that tab. Make sure the sticky side is up and then just line it up top and bottom like this. There. Take your time to make sure everything is lined up properly. Okay, and when we will close, oh, I have it upside down. When you close it, it looks like this. Very basic, but it doesn't stay basic. Okay, so now that we have attached base 1 to base 2, let's just focus on only the part base 3 is going to be put in here, but I'm already going to finish it completely before we're going to put it in here. Okay, so I have this large sheet of cardstock and I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch. And then at 5.5 inch. And for the last time at 8.5 inch. Like this. And I'm going to fold these. So the tab, actually, I'm going to fold up instead of down. So like this. This one, I'm going to fold the other way around. And the last one, again, fold that way. This is going to be a pocket. And this is going to be the insert in here that completely flaps open like that. Okay. Since this is a tab, I'm going to miter these corners a little bit again. Now, before I'm going to do anything with this, I'm going to ink the edges, which is completely optional. I'm just brushing some ink. I am using vintage photo, like usual, on the edges, to give it more of a dynamic edge. You can choose a color that you like. You can build it up as heavy as you want or as light as you want, or you can just skip this step, you know, this is optional, as I said. So I'm not gonna do this at the tab because you won't see it, and it would actually, the parts that you would see would actually ruin it, so don't touch the tabs. I'm using harsh words, not ruining it, just make it a little less pretty. Oh yeah, this is going to close, so I don't need to do that part. I'm actually already also going to do that with the base that I just made earlier. And in this case, it's actually handy that you only do this when they're put together already. Then you're not inking the wrong edges like this one, etc. Of course, you can use other color cardstock than this one. I just have a bunch of this craft cardstock color laying around and I'm usually just using that. But if you want, you can use another color that will work well with the kit that you're using to embellish it. And then the outcome will suddenly be completely different. So I've inked this base as well. Let's go back to base 3. And I'm going to put it like this. So the tab on that side, because I want to close this pocket here. But before I can do that, I am going to glue a panel here. that will come underneath. Oops, it's the other way around, like this. And I already have all my panels cut, you see, for the whole project. I literally took my ruler and I went into my papers and I searched like, yes, that's gonna work there and that's gonna work there, and I need a piece that's that large, so I'm gonna use that part, etc. So whatever kit you're using, whatever embellishment papers that you're using, you can just choose yourself which panel would work really great there, etc., etc. So I already have these ready. I'm also going to give this panel a quick ink at the edges, just the ones that you will see. And now I'm going to glue this one in. Yes, I wrote on the back where each panel will go, because there are quite a few, and this just makes it so easy to find the right one. And now I am gluing this in about 1/8 of an inch, 3 millimeters from the top and from that scoring line, and from the bottom as well. Like this. It doesn't have to be wider because we're going to close this anyway. And you're gonna be able to look into this pocket a little bit, but not that much. And now I'm going to use some double-sided tape. This is 1/4 of an inch, 6 millimeter double-sided tape. And I'm just going to glue this on the sides of this pocket here and here. Yeah, I'm going to take this end off too. Also on this side. You can definitely use glue, like a very fine bead of glue on the edges instead, for sure. I'm going to show you later how I'm going to do that for something that probably needs glue instead of double-sided tape. And now that the backing has been removed, I can just simply close this pocket and voila, we have a pocket. And now I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to concentrate on this piece here. Here we will have a corner pocket on top, but before I can attach that corner pocket, I'm going to glue this panel in place. I already inked the edges. Again, make sure you have a nice little border, even border all around. Like this. And since there's going to be like a corner pocket here, these details will still be visible very nicely. But before I'm going to attach that corner pocket, I am going to put a panel here. And it's going to be this one right here. This is actually a part from a journal page, not from a paper. So you can also use those if you want. And now I want this pocket to actually close with a magnet. And I'm going to use a neodymium magnet. And to save on these magnets, I usually use a washer instead of another magnet to hold everything in place. It's not as strong, but it's strong enough to do what it should do. If you're going to use magnets with more cardstock layers in between, I would use 2 magnets. So these are 1 centimeter, about 3/8 of an inch diameter, and 1 millimeter or about 1/16 of an inch wide. So they're very, very small. And I think I want this about here. Yeah, I'm going to find the center here. For me here, and a little bit closer to the edge. Yeah, I think I want it here. I don't want this magnet too close to the edge because then the paper that I'm gonna put on top of it will not be able to wrap this magnet as good as I want it to, because it's a millimeter thick, but it's still kind of a thickness. And your paper needs to be able to actually cover it completely. So I want it not too close to the edge. Okay, but if you want, you can put it even here, like in the center, if that's easier for you. That's just a choice. You won't see the magnet. Okay, I am going to put a piece of tape here where I want it. And if I remove the backing, I can again see my markings. So yeah, no. Yeah, there is good. Okay, piece of tape on top. And then my washer. Also gonna give this one a piece of tape. Remove the backing and then put it on there with the tape up. Yeah, it might jump away a bit, but that's okay for this purpose. Yeah, that's the one. And then I'm gonna close it. There. And it's in place. It's nicely in place. Also going to put a piece of tape on top of that one. There. And now this will close, but okay, of course, it doesn't look like much. So I'm going to put a panel on top first with this lovely pattern. I'm using a pattern here because we're gonna have 2 pockets on top, and I think a pattern just works a little bit better. But if you have, for example, a paper with something beautiful in the center and some more random designs on the sides, that will work as well. It's just keep in mind what's going to go on top. Going to remove that backing already. There. Nicely centered again. Make sure you use the same height on top and bottom as this little panel here, like this. And this washer here will be a little bit bulky, but you will hardly see it. And now I can already glue this panel in place as well. And that's going to be this one, also cut from a journal page, by the way. Let's remove this backing already. And I'm actually going to add a tiny bit of glue extra around this magnet here. Just a tiny bit. I mean some wet glue, just to make it stick a bit better. And then especially around that thick magnet, hold it in place so the paper really is glued on all sides. Yes, there. And now it just closes. It's a soft close. With 2 magnets it would close a bit better, but it's still doing its job. And now I'm gonna turn it around again, and this piece of cardstock is going to be my corner pocket, but there's not much corner going on at this moment. I'm going to make a mark at, look, you can choose this for yourself, but I'm going to make a mark at 3/4 of an inch on that side, 3/4 of an inch from that corner, and connect them. And I'm gonna cut this piece off. And now I'm gonna turn it around, take my double-sided tape again and put a piece of tape on the bottom and on the side. So I'm going to place this completely against, right next to that fold, not on the fold, right next to that fold, and I'm lining it up with the bottom here. like this. There. So, and this little piece is 1/4 inch, 6 millimeter less high and wide than my cardstock used to be. I'm gonna turn it around, and now instead of 3/4 of an inch to the side, I'm going to just go 1/2 an inch to the side and 1/2 an inch from that bottom. Connect them. Well, you don't always have to connect it. It depends on which trimmer you have. If you have a trimmer, usually you don't have to connect these. It's just if you're only using scissors, that's easier. And now this fits beautifully. I'm gonna quickly ink it because I haven't done that before. And then let's glue this into place. Like this. Beautiful. I'm going to turn it around and going to take a look at my small pockets that are going to go here and here. And I'm going to make a mark in the center because I want to cut out a little notch. That's optional, but I want to do it. So I'm making a mark in the center. This. And I have here a 1 inch corner punch, and I'm just going to cut out a notch like this. And I'm actually lining up the center with the center that's in between here. There's no mark. You can always make a mark on your punches if you want. And I'm lining it up with these thingies on the side. I always use these extra bits to line everything up like this. This way I know all my notches are going to be the same. Also going to ink these. Oh yeah, I should have, well, I shouldn't have, but I think I would rather had that I glued these on before cutting out the notches, but I can still do it. You can cut out the notches later as well, but if you use the same corner punch in the same way, it's going to be really weird here. Circle punch, I mean. So you actually need one that's a 1/4 inch bigger, which I don't have. So what I'm going to do now is I am first going to glue these into place and then cut the exact same notch, and it's going to be good enough for me. I'm going to be happy enough. That's what I want to say. So I am going to glue this one on. So if you're going to do it this way, glue them on first and then cut out the notches, or do it in 2 steps like I'm doing. Okay, gluing that on nicely in the center. Let dry before you cut this off. Yeah, I'm usually using this glue stick because it dries fairly quickly. That's why I can just keep gluing on this sheet because it's dry before I'm using the next one. It's the stuff that we got in school as kids, so okay. Let's see, is this dry enough already? Yeah, I think it is. And I'm just going to cut out the exact same notch again. There, like this. Bit wider, bit wider. Yeah. I think if you only have one circle punch, that's just the easiest way to go. Dry, yeah. This one as well. Going to put some double-sided tape, still the thin one, on the bottom and the sides of these 2 small pockets. Okay, and now where am I going to place them? Yeah, I want an even border all around. I'm just going to eyeball it. And here as well, yeah, that's how I'm gonna do it. Like this, like an even border on the top and the sides, or the bottom and the sides. And now this magnet in the center that's a bit bulky can just hang out there being bulky, you know? Okay. Let's get these in. If you don't trust your eyeballing abilities, you can measure, of course. You don't want things to be too crooked. Unless that's what you want. Here as well. Gonna line this up neatly with this one. Yep. There. Beautiful. And now this whole thing is ready to be glued into our base. So I'm going to put some wider double-sided tape to this tab right next to that fold. Okay, I'm going to put it like this. So the glue is on the tab right next to where the pockets are. And I'm taking my base. This is the flap, so it's gonna be like this. I'm going to take this piece, fold it up by the first fold, turn it around, and I'm going to line up this part right next to that fold here. Like this. Never glue right on a fold or on a scoring line so that everything is able to move real good. Okay, and now this is glued in like this. I'm going to turn this around, the flap here, then it's the right side up. And I have here two little strips that I cut from the papers. One is going to come right here, and one is going to come right here. And on top we will have big fat pockets again. So I am just going to, I already inked them, I'm going to glue this in. So I took into account that for this piece, you will see that edge, but this will be covered by a pocket. And on the other side, you will see that edge. And now for these pockets that are going to come on top. I have here two pieces. Well, the pockets are going to be made the same way. I am simply going to score them in half. That's it. This one too. I'm going to fold them in half. And I choose to put a notch in on one side. If you have other notch punches that you like to use, or a bigger circle, use whatever you want, of course. Or if you want to make it elaborate and draw a design, you can definitely do that. I'm just going to simply use a circle punch. Okay, that's the center. I'm using it the same way as I used it for the small pockets. I might probably need to cut them out again. To be honest, I'm starting to prefer that. From the panels, I mean. The same issue that I had with the small pockets, but I think it's healthier for my punch if I just punch out one layer at a time. Okay, now I am going to close these pockets by just simply putting some double-sided tape here on these sides. Again, I'm going to use the narrow tape that I have. And simply close. Real easy. Same with this one. There, I have now these two pockets and they're going to be positioned right here. So this one is going to be positioned here with that notch on this side and this one here. You see, you will only see the sides peeking out here. These are actually optional, so if you don't like those, don't use them. Oh, and I forgot to ink these edges so you can see the notch better. Should have done that before closing. The problem is, if I make these tutorials, I'm already like 5 steps ahead in my head. And sometimes I forget a step, so I sincerely hope you're watching these tutorials before crafting. And now, when I'm going to glue this in, I also want this to be a secret pocket, because otherwise I could have just made one layer, like half of this, and not use this part and glued that on, simple. But I'm not going to do that. I am going to put glue here, here and here, so not on the folded side. And yes, you heard me, I am going to use glue because I want this to really stick, because otherwise I'm afraid if you're going to use it, it's going to get loose too fast. So I have here my glue. It's always handy to have a glue with a very fine tip. So again, notch on the bottom and like a fine bead of glue. That's too fine. That nozzle is not worthy. So a very fine bead of glue. That's not fine. Yeah, but this nozzle is completely... I know there's like this pin thingy, but for some reason I get these clogged like crazy. Let's try again. Yeah, that's gonna be a finer bead of glue. A little bit finer, like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna glue this in like this. Align it with the top and the bottom, and like right next to that fold again. And then when it's dry, you will have an extra secret pocket there. And in this case, I'm gonna use the power of a heavy book to hold it in place. In the meantime, I can do the same on this side. So where's the fold? There's the fold, not touching the fold. Oh, this is better. This is better. See, and if you don't have double-sided tape or you want to make your whole project a bit sturdier, you can glue everything this way instead of using the double-sided tape. But that also means that you might need to have some waiting time in between projects. Again, lining this up. Like this. And another heavy book on top. Like this. I'm gonna let this dry, because I want to be very sure these pockets are not going anywhere. Let's see if this is dry. There, yeah, they're sturdy. And now I'm going to glue a panel on the flap here. This one. The flap is the first thing you're going to see, so I chose a very vibrant image that would really capture the essence of the theme here. So it's going to close like this, and this is mainly what you're going to see on the front. That's why I thought it was very important. Okay, and now I'm going to glue a little panel here on this side because I'm gonna put a pocket on top. And then this one needs to be under there. So I'm putting this again almost to that edge, but I'm leaving an 1/8 of an inch gap there on the top and bottom as well. And now I'm also going to glue a panel here and a panel here. This one is going to come here. It's not full because again, I'm going to put a pocket on top. This one's actually a little smaller than I noted on the measurements, but I think this is enough. It was a leftover from a paper and I thought that's okay. So these panels that go under pockets, my measurements for the panels are wide enough so you will certainly not see the edge, but if you make it a little bit shorter, that's all right too, you know. So on this side, and now here I am going to do the same thing, but on this side because I'm going to put the pocket on top here. So if you make this a little bit shorter, that will still be all right. So again, this one is going to come on this side. Lining everything up with top and bottom. And then I have here the 3 pockets that will indeed go on top there, like one here, and one here. But I'm first going to cut out some notches. The same way like I did before. Yeah, I never punch on the front. I always punch on the back because then I can see what I'm doing. There. I'm going to ink these edges. So 2 pockets will be with the notch to that side and this pocket will be with the notch to that side. Now, I am going to glue panels on top, except for this one. I'm going to show you later, but these can already be glued on top here. So I'm already going to do that and cut out the notches again. You will see later why I can't do that one yet. Let this dry. This one's cut from a journal page again. Sometimes that just works, you know. Like this. Let that dry, and now I can cut out this one. Yeah. Yeah, this needs some bit more drying. And with these 2, I am going to put some double-sided tape again on the 3 sides, except for the one with the side with the notches. And let's glue this one in right next to that fold here and line up with top and bottom. You know the drill. This. Same with this one here. Line up with all the sides here. Like this. And now for this one. Why didn't I want it in here already? Well, I first need to put a magnet here for the actual closure before I can put this on. But if this is glued in already and I glue it on, I just can't cut out this notch anymore. So I am just going to put that in temporarily. I have here these temporary glue dots, but you can also use like very light masking tape, very sensitive masking tape that you can just get off again. You can do that too. I'm just going to put a few of these. Oops. That's not good. Yeah, that's good enough. Yeah, I think it's almost empty. Okay, but it will work. I'm going to put this nicely into place where it should be. And this will be glued like this. So the magnet will come here and then this one here. But for the first time, I'm like, is that going to be enough? I'm actually going to use 2 magnets this time. For some reason, this one doesn't feel as magnety as it should be, which is totally crazy, but just in case, I'm just using an extra magnet instead. I'm going to place this one right here, not too close to the center, because it doesn't have to be that close to the center. Right here. Again, piece of tape on the bottom. Yes, these neodymium magnets are really strong. There. Stick that on top. Piece on top. And then this one on top. Little piece on top. Removing that backing. Yep. And now I can simply close it into place. And this one's into place as well. Okay, I am going to put a piece of tape on top as well. And now I can just remove this again from here. Remove these temporary glue dots. And then first, glue this one into place here. Oh yeah, I'm going to put some extra glue on the sides here as well, so it's actually really sticking well. Then glue this one into place. Like this. Okay, and really hold it down long enough right next to that magnet so your glue sticks. Okay, and when it's dry, there. And now I can add, just like with these ones, the double-sided tape again. That's a bit wonky, but yeah, it's down, it's down. Now I can glue this one into place right here. There. This pocket has a secret magnet that will close this whole booklet. Yeah, that's a lot stronger. And now I can put my last two panels into place. I'm going to use these ones here. Now, it's going to close like this. So whatever you're putting here, it also has to work with only this piece. If you have a very busy drawing going on here and then suddenly you close it like here and the design would be blocked off, it would not always work. I usually pair a busy image with a pattern. See? Like this. I also did it here. So a busy image and a pattern. A busy image and a pattern. Busy image with a pattern. Busy image, pattern, busy image, pattern. You see? That usually works. This has two busy images right next to each other, but they're from the same paper, so it works a little bit better here. But it would have worked very nicely if we would have a pattern underneath as well. Okay, let's put these again here. So this one is going to be put on right here. And I already see my mistake. Shouldn't have closed them yet. Because now I can't cut these out. You know what? We can solve this another way. You know what? I'm just going to trace this. See? I'm tracing it because it's thick cardstock. And I'm going to cut out right next to that pencil mark here as well. Putting it into place. It's actually quite an easy fix. And I'm just going to trace this half circle right here. Problem solving live. There. There. Okay. Got to move this one. This one goes here. Now I have to see that it really connects with this notch. Yes, very nice. And then this one. Very nice. And now this whole cover is already ready. See? There's just no journal in there yet. Okay, so now here I will sew in my journal pages. I have here all my journal pages, but I don't think they're all going to fit in here. Yeah, I'm just gonna see. I printed all my journal pages on 120 grams paper. That's not too heavy, but it's still a nice weight to have. Now I am going to probably not be able to use all pages. I'm gonna use this one for the front because I like it. I'm going to fold a bunch of these papers in half. You can use regular papers, you know, or recycled paper, or all kinds of stuffy paper thingies. Okay. I'm first going to see if this is too much or not. So this goes in here. Yeah, I think that's like the max. That's the max of the number of journal pages. Actually going to, because something should be put in here, something should be put in here, something should be put in here as well. I'm going to remove one more of these. If you want more journal pages, print them on lighter paper, okay? Or make these spines, instead of 3/8 of an inch, make them a 1/2 inch. Then you get more journal pages in there. These are all solutions. Yeah, that'll work. I think that's a good amount. I'm going to use a 5-hole pamphlet stitch because I did it the last time as well and it felt really sturdy. That's why I'm going to do that again. And for that, I am going to, in this spine, make 5 marks. Use this one. 1. And you can choose for yourself. I'm going to take 1 inch from each side here. Obviously 1 in the center. And then also 1 in the center of that, which is my brain working? Here. And here. But it doesn't have to be evenly spread. You can have these 2 and in the center and then these a bit more to the sides. Whatever you want, it's going to have a beautiful design on the back anyway. Okay, I put the holes a little bit more to that side because this is already blocking quite a bit. So I have it like 1/8 of an inch from the fold. Okay, I'm going to punch these holes. Last time I said do it outside in. But I already made them more. And I made them with a pen. Should have done that. Because now I can't erase them. That was not smart of me. Okay, I'm just gonna go inside out again. It is what it is. Like this. Okay. And then I'm going to make some marks on this back here. Like this. And I'm going to see that they're a little bit centered. Yeah. So I have here 1/8 of an inch extra, here 1/8 of an inch extra. I'm gonna transfer the marks to the back here. Gonna open this up. If you're not sure your stack's keeping together, use some clips to keep the whole stack of papers together. And then just punch. Punch, punch, punch. There. Okay, and now needle and thread. I'm gonna use this brownish embroidery thread. I'm gonna use like more than the height twice plus half extra. I'd rather have more than enough than too little. Okay, and now if you want to have something dangling here, you can start on the outside, but I'm just going to start on the inside right here. I'm gonna go through the center hole, so through the center out and then through the center out again. Pull through. Make sure you leave a tail here and that you don't pull the whole thread through. And then go either side and go back in. And also through the whole stack back in. And just keep weaving in, out, in, out, in, out. I've done it before. Okay, and then back out through the stack and also through the cover. Oh yeah, big thing to keep in mind, don't sew your signature upside down. Yes, it has happened to me before. Okay, now we're at the end. We're gonna go back to the other side, back in, and I see some thread bulking up here. Just make sure you always pull it tight like this. So back in. And I see, yeah, oh, here it is, yeah. And then we keep going that way, back out. Keep going that way, back in. And then the last hole on the other side, back out. Through the cover. And then we're at the end, so we're going back in. Yeah, the hardest part is where you're going back in through a hole that you've used already, like this. And then we're almost there. Make sure everything is tight on the outside and on the inside. Not too tight, but you don't have any loops. And then go under the next loop. You can get rid of the needle and then make a tight knot. Double knot. I had way too many thread here. Okay, and your signature, your journal pages are in. Now I'm going to train the pages that they open really nicely when you write in them. Like this. And now we have this pockety journal. What to put in all those pockets? Well, whatever you want. But I have some suggestions. Let's start with these 4 pockets on the cover. Here, 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 and here. I have cut here some pieces of cardstock, the same cardstock, 230 grams. And they fit perfectly in here and on the other side as well. And you can put on them what you want. You can put nothing on them and just write something on there. You can of course use another color. I have created for you these printable free photo mats, and these will fit nicely on here. There will be an 8-inch border approximately. Depends on how large your printer wants to print. And of course you can adjust that. And the idea is to stick one on the front and the back, and then there on top you can glue a personal photo or use these as journal cards. So I have here 4 of these pieces, for each pocket 1. And I printed this page, so photo mats large, 4 times because I want to glue one on the front and on the back. And then I have 8 spots for pictures or writing. Okay, I'm going to cut these out. So I already cut out 2. I'm gonna do the rest off camera later. You can add a little bit of ink as well. I inked the edges of all these pieces of cardstock as well already. You don't have to see me doing that all the time. Let's push this aside for a bit, and then extremely easy. Just glue them in place. Nicely in the center. One on the front and one on the back. Yeah, and you can use these for so many other crafts, of course. They have an Art Deco-ish frame, which fits the roaring 20s pretty well. So, very handy. And it's not dry yet, but I'm going to show you already. Now these will fit nicely in here. Yeah, like that. And it also fits very nicely in here. I am going to finish the 3 others as well. So I finished all 4 cards front and back, and now I can just put these in place. If you give this project as a gift, the receiver can always write on there or put the pictures on there that they want, or if you have pictures from the both of you, you can use these instead. Okay, and now it's getting really nice and bulky. Let's go in. And in 2 spots, like here, we can have more pictures, but they're slightly smaller. So that's when you print the photo mats small. That's the 2nd page, and they will fit nicely on these two in these two spots in your journal. So I'm going to make these the exact same way. So my two other ones are ready, and now I can just put them in these two side pockets. This one doesn't fit in here because this piece is not wide enough. Now, what do I have for all the other pockets? For in this pocket here on the side, on the inside of the flap, I have cut this piece of cardstock, and I also cut this piece out of one of the papers. But I'm gonna add a little pulley to it. You can do that with the other ones as well, but I'm not going to do it everywhere. I'm just going to find the center here. Should have made that mark more here and not on the edge, because the edge will be exposed. Let's erase that mark. And I have here a little piece of ribbon, and I actually only need, I think, yeah, such a piece, about 2 inches, that is. And it's a very thin ribbon, it's about 1/4 inch wide. And I'm going to take my 1/4 inch tape and just put a piece of tape right above that mark and below that mark. You can use glue just to stick that piece of ribbon into place. And now I'm going to fold the piece of ribbon like this. So I take the ends and I fold it like this, and I'm going to turn it upside down. So one piece will be attached here and one piece will be attached here, yeah. And you want this triangle to stick out a little bit like this. And I am just now going to glue this on top. And where the ribbon is, actually, I am going to add a piece of double-sided tape on that end so that it will stick on top very well. So just see where it will overlap. Remove the backing. And then for the rest, just use the other glue or whatever you're using to stick this into place and glue it in the center like this. There. You can glue something on the back as well. And now this will fit in here like this, and it has a little pulley. For the corner pocket here, I have just this piece of cardstock, very simple, and this is a image that I cut out of one of the journal pages. Very simple. I'm going to glue it on and stick it in there. Actually, this one can be a bit wider and a bit higher as well. I gave you my measurements so that you know what I am doing, but know that you can make this a little bit larger and wider. There. And then you can still see like the beautiful border around here. That's why I created it that size. And now here for the two little pockets, I have these cards and these images that I'm again going to glue on top. You can add these ribbons if you like, again, like I did right here. And then you can pull them out like that if you want. Well, let me do that. Let me just do that. So I'm going to find the center on top, not against the edge. On both of them. Add some double-sided tape and stop at least an eighth of an inch from the edge, because that part will be showing. we don't want that to be very sticky. Okay, let's remove these. There, and you can have the loop sticking out as much as you want for yourself. There. And I know it's going to be on the top, so on the top I'm going to add an extra piece of tape so that that will really hold well. Glue. And glue into place, like this. Yeah, that loopy thingy is going to stick out a tiny bit, but that's okay. Keeps things interesting. And now for the last pocket here, I have a card and I scored it in half and folded it in half because it has room for that here. And I'm just going to glue these pieces that I cut from journal pages to the sides. There, fold in half, and it fits right in there, and the whole thing is ready. Now I have to admit, it's not that sticky as I thought it would be, as it apparently normally is, but it still sticks. But if you want to make sure, just use 2 magnets, but to be honest, this one is sticking really well. And now this is like super chunky, it's very thick. If you're worried it's not going to be too thick, make these 3/8 of an inch spines, make them 1/2 inch or maybe even more. You can just add that to your measurements. There, and it's ready. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want a handy sheet with all the measurements and also the photo mats for free, just opt in via the link in the description and they're yours. If you have some friends that might like to see this video as well, just send the link of the video to them. And now I wish you a very beautiful crafty day. Bye bye.